Okay, well, hello there and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to take a look at the portrait background removal tool in Luminar Neo. So on the screen here you can see a bunch of photographs I've taken, and on each of these I've removed the background, swapped it for something else using Luminar Neo. And for this demo I'm just going to take these two bottom pictures here, which I haven't done, and just quickly go through the process. So both these pictures, if we take a look at the bottom left of the Neo screen, these pictures were taken at ISO 250 at around about 45mm on a zoom lens, f.45 aperture at 250th of a second shutter speed. Using flash. I'm indoors obviously. Okay, so I'm going to click on the first picture and I'm going to select edit. Give that a moment to go live. Wait for the tools menu to kick in. There we go. So at the very top of the screen we've got layer properties, which is nice and easy to find. If you left click on that, left click on masking, come down a little bit and left click on portrait background. You'll see the AI starting to do its thing, taking a quick look at the picture, and now we've got a remove button. So I'm going to click on that. That will now take a little bit of time as the AI works out what is the subject and what is the background, and will then leave us with hopefully a reasonably clean version of the subject, in this case my lovely grandson. So we'll just give that a moment to do. This is the longest part of this process. It does take a moment. There we go. Now if you look at that, it's pretty clean. It's not 100%. If you're a purist, if you're a professional photographer or you edit photos for a living, you could pick some holes in the edging on it, but it really isn't bad. So I'm not going to play with this, but what I will do is I'll just demo how you do make refinements if you're not completely happy or if the AI hasn't done a good job. And if we just go over here to the right hand menu again, we've got a refinements brush drop down, left click on that, and then we've got three options, and you'll see once I clicked on that the image has changed somewhat. So we've got three options here. We've got transition, object and background. If I click on object first, the object is the subject, it's the person in the portrait, and we can see here that we've got a brush. Now if the AI hadn't done a great job and hadn't got all of the subject in as you would like it, you can brush the detail in. I mean, that's a very large brush there. I'm just going to remove that. As I said a minute ago, I'm not going to turn this into an editing video, but here on the object, it's although whilst we saw his face clearly in the final result, I'm just going to paint over this here just to show you how this works. Give that a second and AI will adjust that in just a moment. So what I'm doing here is I'm not painting, I'm not editing this image. I'm telling AI that, oh, I think you've missed a bit, mate. Can you have another look? So again, if I just pull this down here on the object. So this isn't like Photoshop where I'm editing the results of this picture. I'm just pointing AI in the right direction. That will go away in a moment. We'll just wait for that. Likewise, if we come back over here on the background, if the background was wrong, it's looking pretty good to me. You can make the same adjustments. So you click on background, and if something wasn't background that should be background, then you can adjust that. And the other button that you're left with is the transition. Now the transition is the space between the object, the model, and the background, and this is the bit where refining where lines and borders lie, you might have to work on. So that's what the transition button does. Now to get back to the image that we wanted to see, we go back to this refinements brush drop down, and I'm not convinced that this isn't a little bit confusing. This is a drop down, but really it's a button. So if I left click on it, it's going to bring us back. So to my mind, that should be a button rather than a drop down. Drop down lists things, and I'm not quite sure that's it. But however, it is what it is. So we've got our model. We've separated the background very nicely. We want to put a replacement layer. What we need to do, come across to the left, click on the plus sign, and we will see any layers that we've got available to us. I'm just going to click on see all. Now here I've got a bunch of layers that I've downloaded, just downloaded them from unsplash.com, which is a great site for getting free background images that you can use in your pictures, and I've just incorporated them into my layers here. And to do that, all I need to do is click on the plus sign and point it to the pictures that I've downloaded. So for this picture here, I'm going to use this very colourful background here and double click on it and give that a moment. There we go. So we can see that the layer, and if we look over the left, we've now got a new layer. It's on top of the subject layer, the first layer that we had. It has, going across to the right, it sits at 50% opacity at the moment, just to let us see that the image below it. And it isn't quite fitting the original image. So to put that right, all we need to do, we've got a couple of buttons over here. We can use either fit or fill, or in some cases stretch, but I haven't yet found a reason to use that. But if I just click on the left click on the fill button, that's now filled the image to the right size. I'm now going to increase the opacity to 100%, so fully over to the right. And now we just see that background layer, which is a very bright, striking painted wall. So all I need to do, come back to the layer side on the left-hand side. I'm going to pull that below my original image, and we're done. Now, we've still got these resizing tool open here. There's a little bit of a distraction. If I want to get rid of that, I can just left click on layer properties. That's my final image, and that's how easy it was to replace the background using Luminar Neo, and I did no work at all. So not bad. I'll just do another quick example. So I'm going to go back to my catalog. We're going to take this picture here. I'm just going to very quickly go through the same process again. So I'm going to click on edit. Give it a moment for the tools section to become live. There we go. So if you remember, it's layer properties at the very top. Left click, come down to masking, left click, portrait background, left click, wait for the button that says remove, and there we have it. Click the button, and again we'll have a bit of a wait while AI does its stuff, working out what's the model and what's the background, and hopefully we'll get quite a clean job on this one too. You see here that it's my beautiful granddaughter. She's being held by mummy. I did say we can just put her on the stool and she falls off. Don't worry, you won't damage any of my equipment, but they didn't go for that. So there we are. We've got, again, possibly not as a crisp as a result as the last picture, but still pretty good, and with no effort from myself. So I'm just going to go through the same motions that we did before. I'm going to go back to the layers on the left hand side, and I'm going to click on the plus side. I'm just going to go see all here just so you can see all the layers that I've got. I can choose from. I can choose any of these, and I'm going to go for this nice girly, my mouse will work, pink one, and I'm going to double click on that. Give it a moment. There we go. This one has fitted perfectly the underlying image, so I don't need to edit at all. If I did, I would just probably click on the fill button, but everything's looking good. So as before, just replace the opacity to 100%. I I now see what that image is entirely, which is quite a nice one. And I just come back over to the layer side, pull it down, and there's our image. And again, no adjustments made by me, just click, click, click through the portrait background removal tool. So if you're new to editing or you don't want to get into editing, this Luminar Neo is a very good tool for doing stuff like this and making it easier for you. Okay, so just to get rid of these sizing controls here, left click on layer properties, and our picture's done. I'll just come back to catalog just to show what it looks like amongst its peers, and there we go. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this useful. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you again. Thanks again for your time. Bye bye.